So in the warm-up, this is the frequency chart. So the margin was 1 to 10 in 13 games. And so on the bottom, I labeled 1 to 10 here. And then I made this go up to 13 approximately. And then the same thing here. One thing that's interesting is that even though this data has intervals, it's a column graph, and that's because it's discrete. We're not going to have like somebody made a margin of 13.5. Like you can't have a 0.5. You can, but I'm getting started on notes. It's up to you. All right, so we're going to move on to our new stuff today, which again is not brand new. It's just some of the wording is new. When you want to measure the center of a data set, three common ways to measure the center of a data set are the mode, the mean, and the median. Okay, so for discrete data, the mode is the most frequently occurring value. That's not new. And for continuous data, we have to talk about a modal class. And we talked about that just when we were finishing up our last set of notes. So you'll have a class of data between two values, and the class that occurs the most frequently would be your modal class. So that goes here, modal class. If a data set has two values which occur the most frequently, like there's a tie for first place, then we can say it's bimodal. Just means it has two modes. If a data set has three or more values which occur most frequently, then the mode is not an appropriate measure of the center. Okay, bimodal. All right, mean. Take what you learned in middle school and use fancy words to make it seem hard. It's not hard, okay? The mean is the sum of all the data values divided by the number of data values. That's what we remember from middle school. That's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, here's some fancy notation. Add up the items from x1 to xn. This is your summation notation. All right, x sub I, those would be the different items you're adding up. And then divide by n values. If you see this, just know that means find the mean. Don't worry about any of that, and just find the sum of the data values and divide by the number of data values. So we're going to use this x with a line on top to represent the mean of a sample. So remember, we can use the mean of a sample to estimate the mean of a whole population. But mu is what we use, this one here, to represent the mean of a population. Mu. Okay. In many cases, we do not have data from all the members of a population, so an exact value of mu is unknown, and we collect a sample and use the mean of the sample as an approximation for mu, the mean of the population. All right, median. The median is the middle value of an ordered data set. You have to order the data to find the median. Like, it doesn't make any sense to find the middle number if they're not in order. So an ordered data set is obtained by listing the data from smallest to largest, and the median splits the data into halves. So half the data values are less than or equal to the median, and the other half are greater than or equal to it. If you have an odd number of data values, the median is one of those values, right? So you put the numbers in order, and say you have 9 numbers, then the fifth one would be your median, because you'll have 4 less and 4 more. But if you have an even number of data values, the median will be the average of the two middle values, and hence may not be in the original data set. All right, so you can actually find these numbers on your calculator, and so we're gonna practice that, except I don't have a list to practice it with. Oh, we'll practice it with number 1 there, okay? So yes, you can find the mean, median, and mode by hand, but we are also going to practice it on our calculators. So let's take the data set from the next page over here, and let's try to put these into our calculators. I'm going to pull up my calculator. If you don't have a calculator, go grab one. It's on the other. So it says input your data. Press the stat button, which is over here, 2 away from the green button. Press stat. And edit's our first choice. That's what we want to do. We want to edit our list. And then in list 1, we are going to enter the data. I'm getting the data from the next page. Three, 4, 4, 9, 8, 8, 6, 4, 7, 9, 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 9, 8, 6, 3, 7, 1. Okay. I got 21 different numbers there. Did you guys get 21 different numbers? Say it again?
On the paper.
Oh, thank you. Perfect. Okay. All right, next step. Enter the numbers into list 1. We did that. We don't have a frequency count column yet, so we're not going to worry about that. And then we're going to do stat, calculate, 1 variable statistics. So stat, you're going to go right to calculate and choose 1 variable statistics. Does anybody need to see that again? Raise your hand if you want to see that again. Okay. Stat is 2 over from the green button, so press stat. Calculate is next to edit, so you need to go right 1 to see calculate. And then 1 variable statistic is the first choice, so you press enter. Now this is just asking you to confirm some information. We don't have a frequency list, so we have nothing to add there. So we're going to press enter, and then finally enter. And it's calculating a bunch of things for us here. What does that first thing mean, that X with a line on top of it? It's the mean. It's the mean of the sample, which is just the numbers that you entered, okay? So we can write the mean right here. We got that. Oh, sorry, you can't see that. We got the mean. I'm just writing it for the first one. We got that the mean is 5.38 for 3 sig figs. Yeah.
Mine rounded to 5.3.
Okay, it must be a setting on yours. Just deal with it for now, and we can look at it later, okay? We can just clear the memory and fix that setting. All right, the median number. Let's see if the median is on this list. I think it should be. If we go down. Yep, there it is. So you just had to go down to see the median, and that's 5. So put that as an answer too. However, I don't think it has mode. I'm going to go down and look, but I don't think it has mode. No. Quartile 3. Max. I'm not seeing mode. Okay, so we're going to have to figure out the mode on our own. Did anybody figure out the mode yet? Which number occurs the most? 3 is right. So you just have to do a little bit of counting for that and find that your mode is 3. So it didn't ask the Q1, but we're going to learn about that later. Okay, so 3 might also be the Q1 and also the mode, but it's not Q1. Thank you for asking. That was a good point. Okay, on the 22nd day, there were 9 faulty products returned. How does this affect the measures of the center? So, how does 9 affect the mode? If I add another 9, because I have a new piece of data. So now there's two modes, right? Bimodal, very good. All right, so the data becomes bimodal. So 3 and 9 would both be modes. And it's going to affect your median and your mean. Now, before we actually put that in the calculator to talk about how it's going to affect your median and your mean, would 9 make your mean higher or lower? So adding a new 9 in, right, is going to give you a higher mean, because the mean right now is 5.38, and we're adding a bigger number than 5.38. So it's going to raise that. It is probably going to raise your median too, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it would stay the same. All right? So let's just add it to our list and see what happens. So let's go back to your calculator, press Stat, and Edit. Stat, Edit, and then let's go to the bottom of your list and add another 9. Don't replace the value. That would mess things up. All right, so I'm going to add a 9 and enter. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Stat, calculate, one variable statistics, enter, enter, enter. Okay, so now my mean is 5.55. And my new median, I have to go down to see. 5.5. All right. Number two. Number 2 is a question about mean. However, it doesn't give you a list of data, so we're not going to enter it in our calculator like that. You need to think about it for a moment. If 6 people have a mean mass of 53.7 kilograms, find their total mass. Take a minute to think about that and see if you can get that. Okay, so to find the average, it should be the sum divided by the number of people, 6, and that's going to equal 53.7. So you just had to work backwards on that, right? And multiply by 6? All right, so times 6, and we're going to get a sum of 3,220, 300, sorry, is there a decimal in that? I think I just didn't write it. So 322, that's my 3 sig figs, right? Kilograms. All right, choosing the most appropriate measure. So finding mean, median, and mode is very, very simple. Choosing the appropriate measure is more complicated. So the mode would give you the most usual value, but only takes common values into account, and it's not affected by extreme values, right? So if I asked you the number of siblings and I wanted to know the average or the middle number of siblings in the class, but one of you, say, has like 20 siblings, right? That number is going to kind of throw off our average and make it sound like we all have a lot of siblings, when maybe we don't. Maybe on average we have about 2 siblings. So mode can be useful because it doesn't really give that person with 20 siblings any extra weight. Mean is commonly used, and it's easy to understand. Like, most people understand what it means when you tell them the mean of something, and it takes all the values into account, but it is affected by extreme values. So the student with 20 siblings, that's going to kind of make it seem like we all have a lot of siblings. Median is the halfway point, but it only takes those middle of values into account, and it's not affected by extreme values, which you might have on both ends. You could have extreme values on both ends. All right. Frequency tables. Now this might be newish to you. It's not hard to understand, but you should make sure that you understand what this is saying. So we can organize data into a frequency table like this, and then we can use this to find the mean. So if I asked you how many siblings you had, say that these were the numbers 3 through 9, okay? This would mean one person has 3 siblings, one person has 4 siblings, 3 people have 5 siblings, 7 people have 6 siblings, 15 people have 7 siblings, 8 have 8 siblings, and then 5 people have 9 siblings. So if I wanted to find the average without having to add up 5 9s and 8 8s and 15 7s and 7 6s, you can do that more quickly by multiplying these together. So 3 times 1 gives me 3, 4 times 1 gives me 4. Multiplying these together, and then we get 278, and then dividing by the number of people, which you can find from the frequency. Okay, so this 40 people, a total of 278, and then we can divide those down here to find the mean. It's a little bit quicker. We can also do this on your calculator, and I don't remember if these calculator directions are in here or not. Nope, so I'm going to show you how to do this on your calculator. So we're going to enter this list and this frequency, but not the total, okay? Just the list of values and the frequencies in our calculator right now. So let's do that. To clear a list, let me show you what you want to do. Stat, edit. To clear a list, go to the title of the list, but do not delete it. If you delete a list, it could be gone until like somebody resets your calculator, which is not something I know how to do. So you're going to press clear and then enter. Clear, so you go to the title of the list and you press clear and enter. Do not delete it. And now we're going to enter the numbers for the value and the frequency. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the frequency. And these are on your notes. 1. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Go back here. Oh. Right. Okay. 1, 1, 3, 7, 15, 8, and 5. So if you do it this way, it means you don't have to enter 5 9s and 8 8s and 15 7s. You don't have to enter all those numbers. You can just enter this. And then we're going to use this to do our one variable statistics. So when we go to stat and calculate and one variable statistics, list 1 is still our list of values, but we have a frequency list, and we have to go down to that. Oh, don't go too far. And we have to add list 2. That blue list 2 is above the number 2 on your calculator, so you're going to press second and 2 to get list 2 in there. And press enter and enter. And now it's going to give you the average, including those frequencies. Raise your hand if you'd like to see that again. All right, over here too. Did you guys practice that yet? Yeah? Okay. I'm going to show you again. So first thing we did was stat, edit. And this is under using frequency tables. I just copied this in. This is the list of values, and this is the frequency. All right. Again, you ready for the next step? Okay. So then we're going to press stat, calculate, one variable statistics. And list 1 is already there, but to get list 2, it's above the 2 button. So you press second and then 2, and it will give you the list 2. Okay? And then press enter, and you should be able to get your statistics from that. Does it work for you? Thanks. Okay. All right. So let's see what we're supposed to do with that. Oh, I skipped over the section here, didn't I? No, I didn't. I'm just on this section here. Okay. So we did this by hand. We did this on the calculator. Let's look at the median, though. The median's tricky. Trying to find the median of this list. I cannot find the median just by counting inwards from this. It's not 6. Actually, it might be 6. But it's not 6 because I'm counting inwards from the top and the bottom. Okay? you need to find the median value, remembering that the 3 happens once, the 4 happens once, the 5 happens 3 times. So if I was writing this whole list out, it would be 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, right? Like, it would be a long list of numbers. But you don't have to write the whole thing out. So we know that there's 40 numbers in this list, but they're not numbered 0 through 40. They're numbered 1 through 41. So that's why we add 1 to it. Then we divide by 2, and we get 20.5. So the median is going to be the average of the 20th and the 21st number. So if you're looking at your cumulative frequency here, if you're looking at your frequency here, then we have to figure out where's going to be the 20th and the 21st number. So this here is the first number. First and second makes this the second number. So 1, 2, and then 3 more means that these are going to be the first 5 numbers. If I add that to 7, these are the first 12 numbers. These are the first 27 numbers. So the item number 20 and the item number 21, they happen here, which means that 7 is your median. It's a shortcut. If you don't like it, you can make a list of all the numbers and still find the median that way. All right, so you have a problem to do right now, which is this problem number 3. So I want you to try that one. Okay, so let's do the statistics. I'm going to do stat, calculate, 1 variable statistics. I have list 1 here, and I still have list 2 here from last time. If I didn't have a frequency list, I would have to delete that, but I do have a frequency list. So I'm going to press enter, and this is what I'm getting. 3.25 is my mean, and then going down, my median is 3. So I'm going to put those on my paper. 3.25 and 3. And then let's find the mode. So looking at this, the 1 happens 4 times, the 2 happens 11 times, the 3 happens 18 times, and that's the biggest frequency. That means that 3 is my mode. Did you guys get that? 3 is the mode? Okay. All right, next page, grouped data. All right, we got to talk about group data. When information has been gathered in groups or classes, we use the midpoint or mid-interval value. Midpoint or mid-interval value to represent all data values within each interval. We are assuming that the data values within each class are evenly distributed throughout that interval. The mean calculated is an approximation of the actual value, and we cannot do better than this without knowing the individual values. All right, we're going to add extra rows here to help us make sense of this data set here. It says estimate the mean age to the nearest year. So we're going to use our mid-interval value. So in the middle of 21 and 25 is 23. In the middle of these two, we have 28, 33, 43. Oh, did I get off? This is the 43. What's this one? 38. Okay, I'm going to need to do something weird about that. 38. Can you guys just believe me that that says 38? Okay. 43, 48, and 53. And then we're going to multiply those midpoints times the frequency to get the next line. All right. So you should have gotten these already. I got 253,392, 1,056, 1,026, 1,247, 816, and 371. What numbers did I multiply to get 371? 53 and 7. Very good. Okay. So, the mean is going to be the mean times frequency, or the midpoint times frequency, divided by the frequency, the sum of the frequencies. So these totaled to be 5,161, and these totaled to be 137. All right, so our mean is about 37.7, or if you want to round to the nearest year, 38 years. All right, you can also do this in your calculator. Once you calculate your midpoint, you can use your midpoint and your frequency to find your mean as well. We're going to start to talk about measuring the spread today, but it's not going to be a whole lot. Yes?
I was gonna ask, how did you get the midpoint from the data set?
How do you get the midpoints?
Yeah.
So I was actually just looking at them and saying the number that's between 21 and 25 is 23, but you can average them, so I can add them together and divide by 2.
Okay.
Yes? That would be the sum of the frequencies. Yes? Okay. I will look at that later. One of us made a calculation error, and it could have easily been me, but we'll see. All right, measuring the spread of a data. So far we've been talking about the middle of the data. To measure the spread of the data, we can use a few different things. We can use the range. We can use something called the variance. We can use the interquartile range. And we can use the standard deviation. And we're not getting too deep into these today, but I'm hoping that we do next time. All right, so the range is just the difference between the maximum and the minimum values. And so the range is literally going to be max minus min. As a statistic for discussing the spread of a data set, the range is not considered particularly reliable because it only uses 2 data values and it can be influenced by extreme values or outliers. However, it can be useful in choosing your class intervals when you're making your histogram. All right, interquartile range has to do with like that box and whiskers plot. So the median will cut your data in half, and then these halves are cut in half again by quartiles. Okay. So we're going to talk more about box and whiskers plot probably next time. But if you think about a box and whiskers plot from way back, like this, right? This would be your median in the middle, and then this is your first quartile, and then this is your third quartile. And between the median and the quartiles, they break your data into 4 sets of 25%. 25%, 25%. 25% and 25%. So the middle value of the lower half is called the lower quartile or quartile 1. And the middle value of the upper half is called the upper quartile or quartile 3. The interquartile range is the middle 50%. So it's Q3 minus Q1, and it tells you the middle 50%. So if you see something when you're looking at colleges and it says most students at this school have an SAT between 1,000 and 1,200, then they might be telling you the interquartile range, the middle 50%. Often they're using things like that. Okay. All right. Let's do 5 together. No, actually, let's do 6 together, and then we'll do. We'll let you do 5 and 7. So in 6 it says find the median, first and third quartiles in the interquartile range. So what we need to do is we need to start by putting them. Well, actually, if we're going to do it by hand, we're going to put them in order. But actually, you're right. Your calculator will do this for you. So let's put this in the calculator. So stat, edit your list. I'm going to clear out list 2. I don't need that one. And list 1, I'm going to clear out too. And then I'm going to start entering my numbers. We're doing number 6, guys. Number 6. 7382. 3465. 764. Oh, I messed that up, didn't I? 5764. All right, I got 13 numbers. Did you guys get 13 numbers? Okay. When I do stat calculate and one variable statistics, I need to take off my frequency. I don't have a frequency, so I'm going to clear that out. Okay. And so let's get these numbers. The median is down 1. So the median's 5. Quartile 1 is 3.5. And what's quartile 3? 6.5. Okay. And so then the interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. 6.5 minus 3.5. And it's 3. Okay. 7 is pretty much the same thing. I'll give you a chance to do 7 in a minute. But let's look at 5. We probably don't need to enter everything in the calculator to find 5, right? What's the smallest number on the list? 2.3? I agree. And the biggest number? 5.1. So it's probably going to be quicker to just subtract them than to enter that in the calculator. All right, go ahead and do number 7. I'll leave this up. Feel free to work at your own pace, but this is what you should get, doing the same steps that we did for number 6.